What's up, YouTube? This is MetallicTCG here, and today we're going to be coming out with a Dark World structured deck opening. Honestly, I gotta say, I was a huge fan of the GX eras and Elemental Energy and that whole set as a whole. So the fact that we're actually getting a revamped structure deck from the Dark World structure deck with new cards made me very excited and actually wanted to pick up 3 copies of this deck in hopes to potentially make a new deck for Dark Worlds. If you're excited for Dark Worlds and also what they're going to be bringing, comment down below and let me know what your favorite Dark World card is, honestly, because especially with this, there's a whole lot of new stuff coming out here. So we're going to do a quick little into it as well. So let's actually take a... I mean, honestly, the set list itself is pretty solid, but we're actually going to be kind of going more into that. And also, there's some really good notable reprints in here as well. And also, like, just some of the new Dark World monsters definitely give the deck a little bit more speed and whatnot. So let's jump right into it. Because, yeah, I mean, honestly, if you haven't thought about it, like with 2022, the sets and the... I'm sorry, not the sets, but the structure decks are definitely nostalgic for sure. Especially like when we have the consideration of the Rainbow Beast and also now Dark Worlds. It's just really good. It's just really good for a nostalgic player. So here is one of the new cards. We have Rainbow Overking of the Dark World. You can special this card from your GY by returning 1 level 7 or higher Dark World monster you control to the hand. This card is discarded by a card effect. You can add level 5 or higher Dark World monster from your deck to your hand, except for himself. Then, if this card was discarded by your opponent's card effect, you can special summon a level 4 or Dark World monster from your deck or GY to either field. That's actually kind of cool, honestly. Like, the fact it has so much utility, where you can choose where it gets summoned to, but also, of course, like, you know, the searching capabilities. Honestly, this is really good. I do like this card. Dark World Puppeteer. I mean, I love the art on these things too. My God, they actually look really good. Target up to 3 in any GY. Banish them to discard 1 fiend monster. During your main phase, except the turn of this card was sent to the GY. You can banish this card from your GY and then target one of your banished fiends added to your hand. It's really interesting, especially the fact that it's a quick play too, so you can use it in response to certain things. But the fact you could be able to do certain banishment to be able to, like, you know, banish cards that your opponent might be able to use from their graveyard. But of course, banish your own cards, and then also, of course, the discard 1 fiend from your hand, or discard 1 fiend monster from your hand. That's actually really good. I like how a lot of these new Dark World cards, from the look of it, the verbiage is where the discarding is part of the effect, not the cost. Because for those who don't know, if you have to pay a cost for a Dark World monster, they don't get the effect because it's, you know, part of the cost, not the card effect. So a lot of this new Dark World support seems like it's going around that to make sure you get full advantage of their effects. Dark World Archives. During your main phase, you can discard 1 Dark World monster, and if you do, Dark World monsters you control gain currently attack equal to the level of the discarded monster they had in hand times 100. Not too bad. If a monster whose type is fiend is discarded by hand from the hand by an effect of a Dark World, or an opponent's card effect, even during the damage step, you can discard 1 card, then draw 2. That is actually kind of cool. Like the whole fact of this pot of greed, but also you can do discard more and more cards, because again, you're getting a part of the card effect of itself as well. And honestly, it seems like we're gonna have much more manipulation in terms of like our opponent's card effects, because again, if we can have a way to change it where the opponent's card effects force you to discard, like, you know, then we're good. Ooh, yo, Grapha Fusion, let's freaking go. Grapha Dragon Overlord of the Dark World. You require Grapha Dragon Lord of the Dark World plus 1 Dark Monster. Very generic, very easy to do. Alright. When your opponent activates a monster effect or a normal spell or trap while you have a card in your hand, you can activate this effect. The activated effect becomes your opponent discards 1 card. Yo, that is so good. It makes it so your opponent's card changes it to... So, like, you're essentially negating the effect too, but you're also forcing your opponent to make you discard, which is, since it's their card, you're going to be getting some good pluses. I like that. You can only use this effect once per turn. Well, no duh. If this fusion summon card and its owner leaves the field or because of an opponent's card effect, you special summon 1 Graphic Dragon Lord that is banished on your GY. And then each player with a hand discards 1 card. I like how the verbiage is each player with a hand. That is really interesting. That is nice. I do like that. Dark World Ascension. During your main, is this like the fusion? Yeah, it's a fusion. During the main phase, fusion summon 1 fusion fiend monster from your X deck by banishing monsters mentioned on it from the field or the GY. If fusion summoning a Dark World monster, you can also discard monsters as material. Wow, that is great. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, I can't read. During the main phase of this card is in your GY, you can add this card from your hand, then discard 1 Dark World monster. Yo, that is so cool. So like, you only really need to play like 1, 2 at max. You can use like Foolish Burial Goods to send this to the, from the deck to the graveyard. Be able to use the effect here to be able to discard a Dark World card and add this to your hand. That is great. Let's see. You can also discard. This card is, yeah, and the cool thing is too, I also just want to double check, like, you can use the effect of this and also the second effect, because you can only use each effect once per turn. But like, you could do Foolish Burial Goods, send something from the deck to the GY, being this card, discard like Beige or Snow or something, get this card added to your hand, then Beige or Snow is going to trigger, so you can be able to get a special summon or even a search. So that is really cool. Dark World Ascension seems really good. Genta, Gate of Man of the Dark World. You can special summon Genta from the Dark World once per turn. When this card is when you discard this card to the graveyard, add 1 the Gates of the Dark World from your deck to your hand. This card is banished. You get into control Dark World lock. You can special summon this card. That's actually kind of cool. So it is basically the field card searcher, which is nice because you can banish a fiend monster from your graveyard, discard a card, and I think you get the draw card, if memory serves me correct. But the fact that if he gets banished, you get to special summon him. So that banishing, you're not really losing anything. And plus, honestly, if you're to keep banishing your Dark Worlds with like, cards like Dark World Ascension or any other cards, like, he's just going to keep coming back. So I could definitely see him being at least, into the deck potentially. Pearl, Hermit of the Dark World. Oh god. If this card is discarded to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target a Dark World monster in your GY, special summon it to either field. If this card is discarded from your hand by an opponent's card effect, you can special summon to either field one of your fiend monsters that is banished from your hand or GY. Wow, that is actually pretty cool. I mean, he's a 1-for-1 target. I guess it's kind of nice too. Not really sure if there's really going to be any other targets for 1-for-1 in the Dark World deck. But, I mean, the fact that we can use, like, our new boss version of Grapha, the fusion one, honestly could just be really good to just kind of like help swarm the field and go for an aggressive push, or even just for an OTK or for link summoning. When a monster is normal special summon, you can negate the summon if you do destroy that monster, then discard a fiend. Ooh, so we got like a kind of like a solemn judgment in a sense, except for the spell trap and effect thing. If a Dark World monster you control would be destroyed by battle card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard. Yeah, fair enough. A pretty simple card, so not too bad. Rainbow Overlord. So if he's discarded a card of the card by a card effect, if an opponent's card effect is special summon, if it's special summon this way, he can destroy all cards. Not too bad. He might be definitely much more viable considering how we have more card manipulation effects. This card is discarded by the graveyard, special summon, and this card is discarded from your opponents by a card effect. You special summon 1 fiend from your deck to either field. Lucid might be kind of nice, actually. He's a level 6, which you might be able to do some funny plays with that. So interesting. Lithium. This one is a kind of a newer one too. This one I think came out in like Photon Shockwave. If this card is discarded by a card effect, it was discarded if your opponent's card effect. You can target 1 minion monster in the graveyard, special summon, and then if any gains 5 attack. Not too bad. I mean, I definitely like Lucid a little bit more, but he's not too bad. I just like having a little bit more variety. This card is discarded by a card effect. This card is discarded your hand by an opponent's card effect. You could discard target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, special summon this card, and then destroy them. Yeah, not too bad. Some of the classic ones, like with Silva, if he gets discarded, you can special summon him. Honestly, I think Silva was like one of the Dark World arts. So I'm like, whoa, this is like really good. So like kind of like kickstarting me for it. Baron, kind of not too bad. When he deals combat damage, you can discard 1 card. Pretty good, so you can trigger off your other Dark World effects. Beige, so good. It's a level 4 fiend monster that if it's discarded, you can special summon it. Like, it's really cool where you could just, like, special summon Grapha, like, bouncing back Beige and stuff like that and destroying a card on the field. So, definitely pretty good. Brow is also pretty good, too, because for 1, it's a level 3 fiend, so it's a tour guide target. And 2, if it's discarded by a card that you control, draw a card. Or if it's discarded by an opponent's card effect, you get the draw 2 instead. Scar is... He's a little bit slow, but, he's okay. He's okay. Kaki, Gorilla, the Dark World. When he's discarded by a card effect, destroy a monster. Gene, same thing, but spell or trap instead, so you get a little bit of variety. Ceruli, Guru, the Dark World. Oh, I guess it's another level 1 that we have a target up here for as well. This card is discarded by a card effect. Special summon this card to your opponent's field in defense position. This card is special summoned by the effect of a Dark World card. You get your opponent discards 1 card. Oh, interesting. So, I mean, that's not too bad, because with Ceruli, what you could do is you can discard him, then he'll get special summon your opponent's side of the field, and because he special summoned by the effect of himself, which is still technically a Dark World card, you can make your opponent discard a card, which would be you, the player. So you get to discard a card of your choice, which is nice because since this card is going to be in your opponent's side of the field, it's technically their card, so you get the plus effect. Zru, he was actually kind of good from a time. 1800 attack, let's go. 2100 defense for range. Oh, even have the danger engine in here too. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. We have Bigfoot, Thunderbird, Mothman. Interesting. Do we get Tsuchinoko? We got Tsuchinoko. Interesting. So that's actually kind of cool. So I guess that makes sense that the Dark World, I'm sorry, the Danger Engine is in here because it does cause you to like shuffle your hands and then your opponent discards a card if it is one of the dangers, and I think you discard the card and special summon it. So I guess it does make sense. It's more generic discard support, but it also does fit the theme of the deck pretty well. Lilith, Lady of Wailment. This card's normal summon can become 1,000. Contribute 1 dark monster. Reveal 3 traps from your deck. Your opponent randomly chooses 1. I mean, there's Dark World banishments. I guess, there's some interesting with that. I don't think that'll actually make it the main deck, though. Fabled Raven, not too bad. It's a tuner, discard outlet, and be able to get the effects for it, which is pretty nice. Ooh, an Absolute King Backjack reprint. That's actually kind of nice. I believe this actually came out like, Premium Gold 2, and was actually used in Burning Abyss for a little bit. So a reprint of Backjack is kind of nice. Dark World Dealings. Each player draws a card and discard a card. Not too bad. We'll probably still play it for sure. Because it's basically at that point, a little bit more than whatchamacallit. Upstart Goblin, you get to draw a card, you also get to discard a card, so you're gonna get some other kind of plus when you discard the card. Your opponent does also get to draw 2, but if you're about to pop off that turn or set up for some good board control, I guess it really doesn't matter. Like, the pros will outweigh the risk for sure. Charge of the Dark World, target level of Fiend, your GY, special summon to discard 1 Fiend monster. I mean, not too bad actually. It's not a quick play, so that mean it would be nice little quick play. But I mean, the fact you get to special summon something and then also discard a Fiend card, pretty good. Because again, you're gonna go for more effects. Gateway of the Dark World, so basically a quick play monster reborn. Dark World Lightning, target a set card, destroy, then discard 1 card. Again, the way that they're being worded is that the discard is not part of cost, so you're gonna be able to get the effects. Drag Down, not too bad. I actually like Drag Down in here because it allows you to get the information in your opponent's hand. They get to see yours, sure, but ultimately you're probably gonna be discarding your hand anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Each players get to reveal their hands and choose 1 card from each player's hand, and then you discard the cards. And then each player draws a card. Card destruction, yeah, we're back, boys. Each player sends from their hands if possible to the graveyard, and then draw that many cards. Like, who doesn't love that? And again, it's part of the card effect. It's not a cost, I don't think so. You just discard your hand, draw a new one, and then all your effects are going to trigger. Forces of Dark Worldness, not too bad. Basically recurring, you're stuck in the graveyard. Dark World Brainwashing, oh yeah, it's been a little bit. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you have 3 more cards in your hand. You can target 1 Dark World monster on the field. Return it to the hand. If you do, the activated effect becomes your opponent randomly discards 1 card. I mean, that's not too bad. Like, it's a quick play. It's a continuous trap, so we get the effect for sure, and it can stay on a little bit longer. It's not relegated to once per turn, but only by the amount of cards on the field. You do have to have 3 cards in your hand, so there are 2 conditions you have to abide by. So, I mean, maybe in a casual setting, this might be pretty cool, but I don't really see it realistically being that good. If you're thinking a little bit more beyond casual. Once per turn, you can target 1 monster in your opponent's GUI, discard a Fiend type. If you do banish that, not too bad. Not too bad. Mind Crush, yo, this thing used to be insanely good, like super relevant. It's still a pretty good card, don't get me wrong. But yeah, like Mind Crush, nice. Deck Debbie makes a lot of sense. Again, we're playing a lot of Dark Fiends, so you might as well have that opportunity. And also a lot of them are as well. Paleozoic, Dinomischus. Skill Drain, yo, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, with Grapha, Dark World, that makes a lot of sense because you don't really need to have the Dark Worlds, because a lot of their effects trigger in the graveyard when they're discarded. I don't really think any of them really have like a field effect, except for like a feel like maybe Ceruli and stuff like that when they hit the board. But still, Skill Drain's pretty good. Oh, I was actually worried. I'm like thinking when we were opening this, I'm like, did we even get a Graphic Dragon Lord of the Dark World? Because like if not, fuck, that's gonna be pretty bad because like imagine how much the starter deck version or even the premium gold version went up. But that's good. Graphic Dragon Lord of the Dark World, really good card. For the longest time, this was actually the de facto boss monster. You can special summon this card by returning 1 Dark World monster you control to the hand. Except for himself, and then if this card is discarded, you can just target 1 card they control, destroy it. Then this card was destroyed or discarded by your opponent's card effect. You can also look at a random card in your opponent's hand, and then if it's a monster, special summon it to your field. So it's really good. So like what you could do is like you could let's see. So you could have you could discard Beige, right? Beige will special summon itself, and then if you have Grapha in your graveyard, you can bounce Beige back, and then special summon Grapha. And then if Grapha was already discarded, you get to destroy a card. And with Beige's special summoning effect, I don't think it's not a once per turn effect. So it's pretty cool in the fact that you could just kind of keep doing it. So one graphic is pretty nice. Oh, thank goodness we got Snow too. Snow is actually pretty important too in the deck because if this card is discarded by a card effect, then you get to target a monster in your opponent's GY and add 1 Dark World card if it was. So if you discard this card just by any way means, you know, by a card effect, then you get to add a Dark World card from your deck to your hand. But if it was discarded by opponent's card effect, you can also target a monster your opponent controls and then special summon it to then special summon that target in defense. But that's pretty cool too. We also got the Gates of the Dark World. It gives all your Fiend monsters a little bit of a boost, which is kind of nice. But you can also banish a Fiend and then from your GY and then discard 1 Fiend and then you get to draw a card. So again, it's another great way to be able to have ways to be able to get cards to be able to start discarding. The field bonus is a little bit good too, and also with some of the newer Dark Worlds too, we have a bit more banished control. Oh, I'm sorry, not banished control, but banished support to be able to get them back. So it's kind of nice we got that as well. And of course, an advertisement for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. We also got our boy Yuya Sasaki and Yugi the Tenmoto. But yeah, that is actually that's the end of the review for this deck. Overall, I think it's a pretty solid structure deck. It does what it wants to do fairly well. The new inclusion of all the support is really nice, and plus, like, look at how many ultras we got. We got like what, 5 ultras? Yeah, we get 5 ultras and 3 supers. God dang, they're like, we're getting more and more foils in these things, and I'm actually starting to like it. All right. But no, let me know your thoughts down below if you really like this structure deck or if you think it's going to be a sleeper. I know I'm very excited just because I loved playing this deck back when it was like, you know, pretty relevant, at least at the time. If you also want to see a deck profile on the deck entirely, like what I'll be playing for this format with Dark Worlds for like a little bit of a fun, casual rogue deck, let me know in the comment section as well. For now, this is MetallicTCG signing off. Don't forget to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Comment your favorite structure deck that we got in 2022.